Welcome to What's Up Poland with your host, Paddy Nay, and with me, Mark Toomey, who's our guest host today. Can't believe it, Mark, you're with me, but you're a man who knows a thing or two about a couple of things or two, and you've got a story for us today, which actually really surprised me when you told me about it just before you went on the show. What's the story, Mark?
Hi, Paddy. Well, I'm involved in commercial property here in Warsaw, and one story that actually really did surprise me was something I read in the Financial Times recently, where apartment rent levels in major European cities. Warsaw has the highest the biggest increase in apartment rental levels in the last year, out of all the major European cities.
I'm actually flabbergasted because I thought the market had crashed. Not enough students and all sorts, but what you're saying, Mark, is that that's actually the precise opposite. It goes to show what I know.
It's gone the precise opposite, and on average they're saying that the rental prices have risen by about 6% per annum. So you've got Warsaw. Just run you through a few of them. Warsaw is number one, Vienna, Budapest, Brussels, Prague, Berlin, Munich. So just gives you an idea of the types of cities that we're competing against. But it is. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, well, why is that, and how is that possible? And there's I'll give you my opinion on it, or my theory on it, at least. I'm sure there are experts that know exactly why, but it's both socially and economically. I think socially, you and I remember when we got our first paycheck. I remember my mother said to me, "Get on the property ladder, go and ladle yourself with a 300,000 euro debt at the age of 22." I did resist. I rebelled against my mother, and I waited until I was the grand old age of 27 before buying my first apartment, actually in Warsaw. But when you think about it, kids today, that was 20 years ago. So when you think about it, kids today, 22-year-olds today, they don't want to ladle themselves with a 300,000 euro debt, or a million zloty debt, say, for example, for an apartment at the age of 22. They want to move around, they want flexibility, they want to travel. So there is a tendency now, rather than getting on the property ladder at such a young age, there is a tendency now to rent and have the flexibility and have the freedom, and not have the debt. And then they'll probably start to look at renting or buying later in life. And there's also another thing that I think is specific to Poland and probably Central Eastern European countries, is post-communism. Everybody was thrilled to be able to own their own properties, and it was such a great thing to be able to do that. But I think that novelty is kind of worn off now as well. Again, 22-year-olds today weren't around, in 90, 89, 90. So, they're not as excited to be able to own their own property as say their parents were.
I wonder if there's something going on outside of Warsaw as well, Mark, because I've been reading recently about the fact that people are quite liking this hybrid living where they're a little bit here, a little bit there, maybe a bit at the coast, a bit in the capital, maybe a mum and dad's for a bit. They're kind of hopping between lots of different places now, whereas it used to be that really Monday to Friday you were in one place working in one office, fixed. So it seems like there's been a real gear shift in the way that people work. And obviously, if you don't work in a physical office, you don't have to live physically close to that office. All of a sudden you can live wherever you actually want to live.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Look, I know people who work most of their time in Warsaw, but then they might spend weekends in the mountains or spend weekends in the coast or the lakes, and they'll have a place there. So for people today with remote working, no need to be in the office. Well, then, you could spend 1 week in the mountains, 1 week on the seaside, 1 week in the city, So it just gives us a lot more flexibility, I guess.
Is there a bit of a supply and demand issue here as well, Mark? Has the real estate market kind of stalled a little bit? New developments coming online, or is it just a matter of space? I mean, is the city running out of space? It does seem like there's been an awful lot of new builds over the last, whole suburbs basically springing up over the last couple of decades.
There's a massive there is a shortage of supply and there is a massive demand. And if you look at it economically, Poland, I don't know what the stats are on this, but I remember reading something recently, and Poland has one of the highest disposable income levels in Europe. And so basically what we're saying is the Poles are actually getting wealthier and wealthier, but the cost of living is still staying relatively the same. So their disposable income is much greater than other European cities. So they have money to invest in investment properties, be it for themselves. So that money, they have been investing that money quite savvily over the last couple of years. And but now what you also have is something completely new to Poland, which is the introduction or the emergence of private investment funds, big funds coming in and buying up blocks of apartments. And I mean, these guys will come in and they will buy a new build block of apartments, 300 apartments, and they will fit them out to look identical. It's almost like a hotel. They will fit them out to look identical, and then they'll rent them out to the market. But they're buying these things essentially from plans. So that apartment that would have been sold to the public has now just been sold to the fund from the plans. So nobody has the opportunity to buy that. So actually, there is a massive shortage in supply, and there is a huge demand from private individuals who are now competing with investment funds to buy apartments.
Mark, I just feel like knowledge is spilling out of your enormous brain, and it's starting to make me wonder I should put the price up on my little flat, which I'm still renting. If anyone wants to rent a very nice flat in a good location, then I think you need to get in contact with me, because my current tenant will be having a nasty surprise soon after this information. I have to admit, you've surprised me. I really thought that this would be one of those markets that's been hard hit, not so many students, people becoming a little bit more cautious, watching the pennies, and yet the data tells us otherwise.
The other thing, with student housing as well, there's a massive increase in development of student accommodation as well, because it's virtually non-existent in Poland. And so I know some of my clients are coming in, German clients, Scandinavian clients coming in just to deliver student housing, because there's a huge need, and the number of international students in Poland has gone through the roof in the last couple of years. Which is good. It's nice to know that people from other countries want to come to Poland to study.
It sounds like, as a barometer of the economy, this is a good news story, because there's a heck of a lot of things going on and people wanting to be in Poland, in the capital as well. Well, Mark Toomey, thank you very much for joining us as our guest host on What's Up Poland. Would you consider coming back on? Has the experience been traumatic for you?
It's been great. It's been fun.
See, I almost thought he was saying that sincerely, but the eyes never lied. I'm kidding. It's been very great. I have a feeling we'll want to come back to you, especially on real estate related questions. Where can we follow you, Mark, if one wanted to keep tabs on your work? I think LinkedIn will probably be a good place to start.
Yeah, pretty much LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn. I'm not really on social media, so
you're not. Well, you can always find Mark. He's found frequently running through the forest in southern Warsaw with me.
No stalking, please.
No stalking, no. Single file, keep your eyes on the road. And usually around 6:30. So if you want to get me and Mark in the same place, and this is not a call out for any would-be assassins, but if you just want to talk to us about business, you can do that. Or you can find Mark on LinkedIn as well. Thank you very much for sharing that story. And that's it for What's Up Poland. We'll see you again for another episode.